Let's take a look at some reserve list cards you probably should be looking at. You know, all those people who say the reserve list is too expensive, it's too pricey, they should do away the reserve list. It's not that expensive. Maybe the cards you're dreaming of is expensive, but the reserve list cards as a whole, many are very affordable still. And I think people fail to recognize that sometimes. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. If you're new to the channel, you just found me in the Nacho Cheese universe of YouTube. Welcome aboard. I hope you enjoy my content today. Smash that subscribe button. Join in the fun. Free to do. Looking forward to talking with you guys in the chats. We're going to have a blast. So, reserve list cards. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there. 572 cards of fun. Some are like ridiculously weak compared to cards nowadays. Some just have beautiful art. But the fact is, they're all on the reserve list. Whether you like it or not, good card or bad card, they're there. So, what are you going to do? Are you just going to complain and gripe about it? People can do that. They have a good time doing that. Other people are like, hey man, I bought 50 copies of that. Ha 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 ha. I know that feeling too. Then there's people that get lucky like me and say, oh, I kept a few of these. Oh, I kept a couple of those. Whew, I got lucky. My cards have gone up in value. That's why we hold the line. Don't sell your reserve list stuff. Hold the line. You end up doing pretty good in the long run. That's all I can tell you. And a reminder, I am not a financial advisor. I have no financial backing. If you need a financial advisor, you should find one that is qualified to educate you on things. It's not me. This is purely for entertainment purposes only. You're listening to a guy who hoards cardboard in the background and maybe knows a couple things about Magic cards. Maybe. That's up for you guys to decide. So let's go ahead and take a look at some amazing cards from the reserve list that might interest you. Our first card up is Thelonite Monk from Fallen Empires. That's right, a Fallen Empires card. $2.50 Canadian near mint. The average is $2.17. The market is at $2.09 US. And it's €1.91 to get you that card. The formats being Commander, Legacy, Vintage, and Old School. Now, usually I like the sales to be steady or slow when I say this is a card that might be going up. But because it's a Fallen Empires card and it's already dipped from the high of around the $5 mark all the way down to like the $2 mark, it's not a bad time to pick up a playset. But remember what I say about Fallen Empires, you gotta go for near mint. You gotta take the time, look up the cards, get the right card at the right time. And when you're following up on Fallen Empires cards, I'm sorry, there's so many out there still, you gotta go for near mint because that might have a higher collectability later on, and it's not gonna cost you a lot more to get a near mint right now. But who knows how that will be later on. Just take a look at Thrall Champion and how hard it is to find a near mint copy. It's really getting difficult and the price is spiking on that card. So it's a good time to say maybe a good near mint quality copy of any card that's reserve list might be a good buy right now. Now the Thelonite Monk, I remember him being used. He's 2 green, 2 other. He's a 1/2, very wimpy creature. I never really liked him as a card to use, but friends did use him. They used him with like these Sporling decks where they would use the Thelonite Monks to like switch my lands to forests by sacrificing Thalids, and then your lands become forests. Nothing you can do about it. So you wanted to get rid of that monk as soon as possible because they'd also instill it. And there's lots of ways of untapping cards nowadays. So he could be finding a nice janky home inside of a commander deck that you never expected to see, coming your way. So keep an eye on cards like that because you never know where that value will come from. But you know how cheap it is now. Spending $10 on a playset of near mint Thelonite Monks is not going to cost you a lot of money, but it could yield dividends down the road, and it's not a huge investment of cash to get a card like that when you can easily take some trade fodder of junk you're not using right now anyway. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next card, and don't forget, it's reserve list. Lady Evangela from Legends, my Maze of Ith girl. She's up next at $110 Canadian, lightly played. The average is $99.94 US. The market's at $105 US, and it's €71.60 to get that card into your house. Now, the sales are slow on this card, and the price has tanked down. I found it cheaper on TCG Player, if it's a card you're looking for 65 US light played, which is about 85 bucks Canadian, give or take. The formats available are Commander, Legacy, Vintage, and Old School. I still have my beat-up copy from my teen years. I can see why people might want one in a Commander deck. I haven't really seen it played in an Old School deck in a long time, even with the friends I play with. But it's the idea that the Legends have, the Legends set, all the rares are really rare. Like the print run is very low because it was a larger set. Although it had a larger print run overall of cards, the individual print run for each card is smaller because the set was so large. So you got to keep that in mind. These guys, all the rares and legends are rarer than even things from Arabian Nights. So it's something to keep in mind for the future, like 10, 15 years down the road. And hey, she's like following the rainbow of Skittles. I like that. I like that. All right. Our next card coming up today is going to be Suchi. I've mentioned this a couple times because the price is still kind of coming down. You see I've circled it there. Suchi from Antiquities is $105 Canadian locally, heavily played. The average is $110.80 US. The market's at $145.42 US. You can find this card for €100.53 to get that card into your house. The sales are steady, which I like. It hasn't gone super fast, which means it's not causing the prices to jack up to new levels where we can't afford it. But you look at that previous high level and you can see chances are this card is going to rebound at some point and work its way back up. So if you're a person who wanted to get your hands on a Suchi, I'm not saying the time is gone, like it's going to shoot up tomorrow, but it has fallen to probably as low as it's going to go. So if it's a card you're after, you might have to pull the trigger a little sooner than you intended. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next card, which is Goblin Wizard from the Dark. Another one of those cards that is tanked from previous highs, which is why I'm taking a look at it. Now, at $150 Canadian near mint, the average is $129.97 US. The market's at $115.57 US, and it's €113.49 to get you that card. Now, when you're looking at Goblin Wizard from the Dark, it is one of the higher end cards from the Dark. It has high sales volume because people have realized how cheap it is right now, and they are gobbling up more copies. You might expect to see this guy in the top 10 video this week for reserve list on Sunday. I think he might make the list this week. I have to keep tabulating the sales. We'll see where it goes. The format being Commander, Legacy, Vintage, and Old School. But let's face it, he really finds a home inside Commander because he can just have to put goblins into play. He's your didgeridoo for goblins. That's why people like having this guy around. It's that and the fact he just looks cool. He's an old school card that looks cool. A Goblin Wizard. Who would have thought back in the day goblins could actually be wizards? I love it. Great card. Looking forward to seeing what he does in the future. He's an awesome addition to anybody's decks. Homorage Shaman from Fallen Empires. That's right, another Fallen Empires today. $1.50 Canadian for a near mint copy. The average is $1.60 US. The market is at $1.13 US. And it's €1.94 to get that card. The sales are steady. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this guy is because it's had a lot of uptick sales in the last few days, so somebody's buying some copies. The format is Commander, Vintage, Legacy, and Old School. Now, this card at one point was $5. Now, he's a forecasting cost for 2-1. He's not like some powerhouse hitter. So you got to ask yourself, what does he have going for him? And it's that tap ability. So you see he was at $5. He's tanked below the $2 mark. But you look at what he can do. That weird ability to just go ahead and tap green creatures is phenomenal. Okay, he's your little perma icy for a blue deck all the time for green decks. And that's why a lot of people seem to have picked up copies. It's only I can think of right now. If somebody knows something, you can let me know. But it's got to be that tap feature, which just says, hey, I don't have to tap him. I've just got to tap some blue mana, start freezing up some creatures and messing with people. In a commander deck, I can see how that could be very viable, depending on the decks you're playing against, and the fact that so many creatures are multicolored now, and green is one of those colors that they're using, it can mess with so many different types of decks. So I can see why it's there. Very interesting stuff. Way to go, Shaman from Fallen Empires. I mean, why not? Let's go ahead and take a look at our next card, and that is Baron Sengir. That's right, Homelands. Now, this guy at one point was above, I think the $30 mark, and he kind of tanked down. That's why I'm mentioning this card. A lot of vampire decks are being made for what's happening in Innistrad Midnight Hunt, Crimson Vow, a lot more tribal synergy, and they seem to keep printing vampires. He is not a horrible vampire. His casting cost is brutal, but there are lots of ways to sneak cards like this into play. That's why he was so high for a while, and he is reserve list, don't forget. Now, when you look at him, you see now he's like $8 Canadian for a moderately played copy. You got to ask yourself, is it going to stay there? Again, I would look for a near mint quality copy. The only one I found locally was moderately played, but I'd be looking for near mint. The average price is $10.98 US. The market has it at $11.84, €8.13 to get you a card. Sales are steady. He's kind of dropped to the background a bit. But as with most reserve list cards, they may drop down, but they tend to go back up. Now in 2021, well, I guess the end of 2020, he had that big surge where he went like $30 or a little bit above $30. You can see there he's marked down. At that $8 level, he is sunk almost back to where he was. It's just a little bit above. And nobody ever thought a Homelands card or a Fallen Empires card would ever be worth money. But anyone who wants to get into the reserve list and doesn't want to spend $6,000 buying a card, they can buy hundreds of copies of these and slowly accumulate almost like a stock portfolio of low-end reserve list cards. And if any of them ever take off like a penny stock, you may end up somewhere you didn't expect to be. It's very interesting. And a card like Baron Sengir, with all this vampire tribal stuff going on, he easily finds a home sometimes. I've seen him a couple of times, not as a main guy, but a vampire people pull out. He's in a deck. They've dredged him out. It's kind of funny how he comes around. So very interesting. Way to go, Baron Sengir. You're a creepy guy from what, Ergothia? I think that's where Homelands takes place. Ergothia? I'm pretty sure. Anyway, very cool stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. I hope I showed you some cool cards you might find interesting. Let me know in the comment sections what you guys think. Love to hear it. And hey, remember, shop smart, shop S-Mart, and bring a friend to Magic, because it is a wild, wacky time out there, and we all deserve to chill out, play some Magic, and have a good time. Have a great one, everyone. Stay safe out there. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. And of course, a big shout out goes out to each and every one of the patrons on this channel who supports me each and every month. Thank you so much, guys. It's rocking. And remember, guys, if you're buying from TCG Player, don't forget to use my affiliate link. It helps generate a little bit of cash for the channel for prizes. Well, here we are again, boys and girls. Gotta be honest, I'm exhausted. This is, whenever I'm filming this was the day of the snowstorm, which was what, Monday? And this is probably coming out Thursday. Just exhausted. Like, beat. I'm like basically falling asleep. I know we talked about it on the live stream, a few of us, like, oh, the storm's coming. Like, I'm prepared. I'm prepared. Oh, but so many of my neighbors were not prepared, and I couldn't abandon people. There's some older people on my street, so I ended up having to help a lot of people out. Oh, my legs are all wobbly, man. Seriously, I'm tired. It's just one of those days. So, hey, you stay classy, San Diego. Have a great one, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Remember, shop smart, shop S-Mart.